Hello, my name is Andrew Heyer, and this is my presentation, Teens and Drug Abuse. So here's some quick statistics about drug use. 61% is the increase of drug abuse among 8th graders from 2016 to 2020. 62% of seniors in high school have abused alcohol, 50% use other drugs at least once. I think you can tell from these statistics, but maybe you don't even need to tell from the statistics, you just know from your own life. The drug abuse is really prevalent in school, especially middle and high school. So we as educators have a big responsibility to educate and hopefully shield our students from some of the effects. So in this presentation, I'm going to be moving through the three most prominent substances that are abused. The first is alcohol. So here's some more statistics. 25% of 8th graders have abused alcohol. 61% of 12th graders have abused alcohol. 2% of 12th graders drink alcohol daily. 60% of teens admit to binge drinking. And 16% of 12th graders report to having 5 drinks in a row. I think you can infer from these statistics what the major danger of drinking in American drinking culture is. But I talk about it some more on the next slide, so we'll move over to that quickly. And then right there, one of the major dangers of American drinking culture is binge drinking. This is very unique to America. In other countries, they don't necessarily have the binge drinking culture that we do that extends even beyond school age children, but it's definitely a problem with underage drinking too. And 91% of all drinks consumed by teens are binge drinking. I mean, that just shows you how big of a problem binge drinking is. And this is when like a lot of really dangerous stuff can happen, like blackouts and alcohol poisoning. And then I just put at the end here age of drinking laws. Just interesting to think about that, like countries with lower age of drinking laws don't really have the same binge drinking culture that we do. But I won't spend much time on that because it's out of our purview as teachers. So here's what we can do as teachers to prevent drug abuse. So first, be supportive. A lot of students who abuse substances have something else going wrong in their life. Obviously, curriculum about the long-term use and effects of drug abuse. Reinforce the fact that a lot of students do not use alcohol, which lessens peer pressure. If students feel that everyone is doing it, they'll feel like they have to do it too. And then after school programs, of course, because students, if they have nothing to do with their time after school, they're bored, that can lead to drug abuse. So we want to give something that they're passionate about, get them away from destructive things and get them into productive things. So, and then we're going to move to cannabis. Here's some quick cannabis statistics. 68% of monthly cannabis users are concurrent alcohol users. So you see some crossover. They're more likely to have mental issues like depression and anxiety. It can cause memory and attention issues. And if they have a predisposition to disorders like schizophrenia, it can activate that. And then teens often view it as less dangerous than tobacco, so it's or other drugs. So that's why it's hard to get them to not do it sometimes because they don't understand the danger. It can cause driving impairment, and 1 in 10 purport to be daily users. So here's how we can prevent cannabis as teachers. We clearly convey the dangers of cannabis because, like I said before, a lot of students don't feel like it's that dangerous. And that kind of goes with another point here is don't overact. So you don't want to overstate how dangerous it is because then they won't believe you because they'll say, if you start showing them like reefer madness type stuff, they'll be like, well, I know this is obviously not true. So I'm not going to listen to this teacher about anything because I don't trust them. So be honest about it. It's not going to make you go crazy necessarily. It's not going to make you kill someone with an axe. But look, like it has the same problems of driving that alcohol does. Look, it can affect your memory. So, be honest, but also clearly convey the dangers. And once again, inform them the majority of students do not use cannabis as a teacher, because they really look up to their peers and you say, not everyone is doing this. Okay, and then we're going to move to nicotine, which I think is actually the most prevalent now. But 10% and 5% of middle school, 25% of users report using it daily. So the people who do vape are more likely to use it daily than alcohol users. And e-cigarettes are very popular now. And here are some of the impacts of nicotine use. It can cause mood swings, lung cancer, and decrease in lung capacity, highly addictive, depression, anxiety. If someone's a student athlete, that lung capacity could be a very big problem for them. And then moving to teachers, I sound like a broken record here, but peer pressure really is such an important part that students feel that because a lot of their peers are smoking nicotine, they have to too. Show them they don't have to. And then here's a very important thing with nicotine abuse is you introduce your students to alternatives that can prevent stress. A lot of students get addicted to nicotine because they find it stress relieving. So if you can channel that stress relief into other things, I mean, that's huge. And then once again, be realistic about the side effects. Don't overstate it. Don't overstate how dangerous e-cigs are, because that'll make students not pay attention to you. Be honest. And then here are some of my sources, and thank you for listening.